want to do this, I got to trade the cat.
Hallelujah. There you go. All right, for the. So, I've got good news today. We're celebrating the quiet power that was Lloyd Richards. From humble beginnings and living at the YMCA on 135th Street for 5 years, to first black director of a drama on Broadway, to first black dean at Yale Drama School, artistic director at Yale Rep, artistic director of the Eugene O'Neill Playwrights Conference for 30 years, chairman of the board of TDF for 5 years. One of the many wonderful things Lloyd said was, if you don't see it, create it. That's God talking to you. Who will tell your family's stories if not you? He saw the best in people and helped thousands and ignited the spark in others. So I'm not surprised that this is happening on the 65th anniversary of Raisin in the Sun, on the day he was born and the day he died, and that he has broken another barrier for diversity, equity, and inclusion by being the first person of color to have a street named for them in the Broadway Theater District. Just because you start in the back of the bus doesn't mean you can't get to the head of the line if you do the work. He saw what was invisible to others and made it visible. A magician of sorts. My story is Lloyd directed me in the sign in Sidney Brewstein's window. I played Alton Scales. Many years later, tragedy happened and a gentleman appeared and took me to lunch, John Clinton Eisner, and offered me a job deconstructing Shakespeare at Baird Rustin High School. I didn't know it, but John was Lloyd's assistant at the Eugene O'Neill Playwrights Conference. Lloyd was in touch with the great I Am. He was in touch with the kind of spirit power in ourselves that the slaves had, who could find freedom in the dark. And Lloyd asked us all to unblock the power in ourselves. What's your Lloyd Richards story? He created safe spaces for all of us in the arts. Charles Dutton said, Lloyd had 2 natural sons, but many children. Actors, directors, writers, designers of every stripe. I leave you with what Lloyd would say. Do the work. The time is now. Do not delay. Love alarm, love alarm, love alarm to all of you.
Hi, I'm Jack Shalom. I can't add anything else to what Julius just said other than Lloyd Richards is theater. And the spirit is with us right now. And I'm going to introduce Chet Whye, political consultant, who's going to introduce our first guest.
Hey there, folks. Now, I don't think anybody mentioned yet. I'm up here being busy trying to help stage. But 2 years ago, 2 young actors broke as hell. So broke that they had to spit a hot dog. And one, Sidney Poitier, turned to his fellow actor and teacher, Lloyd Richards, and said, you know, if I ever do something on Broadway, if I ever do a Broadway play, I want you to direct it. Raisin in the Sun happened here. And look at what happened since then. Wow. So, this glorious day, the day he was born and the day he died, what is going to happen is we're going to go through the ceremony, then we're going to proceed down the street, and the family is going to unveil his sign saying Lloyd Richards Way. And forevermore, on this street that houses the Lena Horne Theater and the Barrymore where it began, it will be known as Lloyd Richards Way. What a beautiful tribute to his name. I gotta introduce my buddy. this guy right here, Mark Levine. I first met him, he was in charge of Barack Obama of Upper Manhattan, and I was in charge of Harlem for Obama. And we worked and worked and worked, and against the odds, we won. And then Mark became the city council. And what Mark did, he did some remarkable things for the neighborhoods that he represented. One thing he did for the city and actually for the country, he made a law, crafted it and got it through council to protect people who are about to be evicted, that they had a right to counsel. That law passed and it became the first law of that kind in the nation. He made the pattern. A few years ago, we were trying to raise awareness and funding for a group that gives mentorship to incarcerated and musical mentorship in instruments. The musicians go in and they go in and they teach music and they work with the inmates even after they come out of prison. Mark comes to the house in support and he reminds us, not just the institution or the buildings that incarcerate, we've got to break down the culture, the negative culture of incarceration, what incarceration does to people. When we started on this endeavor, we asked Mark for help, and a year ago, we weren't here, we were at the August Wilson Theater on 6/29, the day that Lloyd Richards was born and he died. And Mark, who is the Bureau President of Manhattan, proclaimed that day as Lloyd Richards Day. Mark has helped us shepherd this thing to this moment. And I want to proudly bring on my friend, Bureau President of Manhattan, Mark Levine.
Give it up to Chet Whye, activist extraordinaire. Rooting for Obama was nothing compared to pulling the street code naming off. My goodness, it's been an epic journey. Julius Hollingsworth. Also, by the way, Emmy award-winning actor in his own right. And let me tell you, there were months over the last couple of years where I got calls from him more than anybody outside of my nuclear family. He fought so hard to make this happen. I want to shout out your local city council member, Eric Botcher, who you don't get a street code naming until they pass the bill, and he passed the bill. So give it up again for Eric Botcher. Now, if you know how New York City government works, you know that getting a street code naming done is an epic, epic, epic journey. And I know you wanted this done a year or 2 or 3 ago, but things happen for a reason. We're standing here today on exactly the 105th anniversary of Mr. Richards' birth. Applaud for that. I like round numbers. This is also exactly the 65th year anniversary of the debut of Raisin in the Sun. This is perfect symbolism, and there's more. This also marks the 40th year since the debut of the August Wilson classic, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It all happened, we have multiple anniversaries this year. And you know, in retrospect, all those things look easy. But you gotta remember when Raisin in the Sun debuted, everybody said it would fail. You had an unknown playwright, you had a director who never worked on Broadway before, you had an all-black cast, and in 1957 that was unheard of. And then something happened on that opening night. They got a standing ovation. And that night changed American theater forever. Again, August Wilson was unknown until Mr. Richards picked him out. He read 1,000 scripts at Yale and picked out the genius of August Wilson. If not for that eye for genius, August Wilson would not have made it to Broadway. Again, that happened 40 years ago. So this timing reminds us of those incredible, incredible things. I want to remind everybody one last thing. Mr. Richards lived around the world We know he had roots in Connecticut. We know he grew up in Detroit. They even try and claim him in Toronto. But he was a New Yorker through and through. When he landed in New York in the 40s, he stayed at the Harlem YMCA. And then, I guess he had a very good real estate sense, because they bought a brownstone in 1957 on West 95th Street. And I was just talking to Mr. Richards and Barbara's son, Scott, where's Scott? Who told me that that he grew up there on West 95th Street, and that I think that your father and mother considered New York home.
They very much consider.
Okay, confirmed. Confirmed on the record. So we are celebrating a great African American artist and creator and playwright. We are celebrating a New Yorker. We're celebrating an Upper West Sider. To everybody who made this possible, thank you, thank you. Congratulations.
Welcome to Lloyd Richards Way! Everyone, my name is Aaron Potcher. I'm the City Council member representing the West Village, Chelsea, Hell's Kitchen, Flatiron District, Garment District, and as of today, Lloyd Richards Way, right in the Theater District. I really, really want to thank the family of Lloyd Richards, and by that I mean all of you, because this is a family, am I right? What an incredible effort that's come together to make today possible. One of the first calls I got about this was from my friend and colleague, Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine. Let's give Mark Levine. In our lives, it's up to each of us to make as big of a difference in the world while we are here, during the relatively short amount of time that we are here on this planet. Lloyd Richards knew that, and that's what he did. It's also up to us to ensure that future generations know of the things that great people like Lloyd Richards did on our planet. And that's what we're doing today. By creating Lloyd Richards Way, future generations of New Yorkers, of Americans and people around the world will know about Lloyd Richards, who he was, what he did, how he touched us. And they will take that knowledge into their own lives and pay it forward. This is going to happen for hundreds of years, and it's going to happen because of all of you who made today possible. Thanks so much, everybody.
I'd like to introduce Emilio Sosa, winner of the Helen Hayes Award for Outside Costume Design and chairman for the American Theater Wing Board of Trustees. Emilio Sosa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emilio Sosa. I am chair of the American Theater Wing and a 5-time Tony-nominated costume designer. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here. When I became chair, one of the first calls that I received was from Julius, because we are Harlem neighbors. So we would see each other every morning. So that was one of the first things that he had on his mind that he wanted to achieve, and how could the wing be part of such a momentous occasion. So I automatically said, yes, the wing is 100% behind you. And to see this fruition today, to happen under my tenure, is very special to me, because I didn't know Mr. Richards personally, but as a costume designer of color, I wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for August Wilson Plays, and August Wilson wouldn't have plays if it wasn't for Mr. Lloyd Richards. So to tie it all together, yes, I know Mr. Richards well, because it was through his genius that I was able to learn my craft designing August shows throughout the country and here in New York. So for me, it's an honor. Thank you so much. I'm a New Yorker, and I work in the Broadway community. and to be able to walk down Lloyd Richards Way every day is very special. Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Kate Burton, 3-time Emmy Award nominee and 3-time Tony nominee and a student of Lloyd's at Yale.
I didn't realize this was happening right now. Okay. So I was in Lloyd's first class at Yale. We arrived with Lloyd in September of 1979. So we arrived with him, and it was extraordinary to watch him navigate the first 3 years at Yale. I had heard a little bit about the O'Neill Playwrights Conference. I knew it was the love of his life, let's be honest. And you know, so it was such a thrilling time. And I represent my class here, some of whom you may know. Miss Jane Kasmerick, 7-time Emmy nominee, and of course, Frances McDormand, our 3-time Oscar winner. We're so proud of her. But you know, all of us, the most thrilling thing for us, because we didn't get to be taught by Lloyd, except for our 3rd year. Lloyd directed a production of Uncle Vanya with Glenn Close, James Earl Jones, and Harris Yulin, and all of us got to audition for Sonia. And that was 2 of the greatest hours of my life. Lloyd putting us through it. We all played Sonia. We all auditioned for it. I'll never forget it. Again, do the work. His words were indelible. We all still do the work. We're so proud to have gone there under his tutelage. And also, you know, it was pretty remarkable when I look back, because who was that man walking around with a hat, smoking a cigarette with the briefcase? This new playwright, August Wilson. Little did we know that we were standing with greatness. So thank you so much.
Courtney B. Vance, recipient of 2 Primetime Emmy Awards and president of the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, and an actor who was in Fences and was a student at Yale Drama School. So, yay! Courtney B. Vance, yay!
Thank you, Julie. It's one of the greatest introductions ever. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would not have a career if it wasn't for Lloyd. So I'm here for myself, as Kate said, it was a golden era, because whenever there was if you got into a Lloyd Richards play at Yale, you knew you were going to Broadway. No one got fired. And we all knew that you were going to work your tail off, but you knew you were on your way to Broadway. So and every opening was a reunion of sorts. All black actors and of-color actors would gather for openings, and that was your family. I was in the Fences family. I wasn't in the Joe Turner family. I wasn't in the Ma Rainey family. I wasn't in the piano lesson family. And if you tried to get in the piano lesson family, which I tried to do for the Hallmark film, they wouldn't let you in. I was like, Charles Dutton wouldn't let me in. I said, I was hired to do this role. Would you let me in, Charles? All right, Court. Okay, all right. But I'm just here to say thank you for all of us gathering, but Scott, Thomas, and the Richards family. I mean, my gift to Lloyd was, when I was doing Law and Order here, was to take him to lunches and dinners whenever I had a break, and just sit at his feet and listen to him when no one was. And that's what I glean from that is, as he said, do the work, but just be. When everyone went away from him, he just be. He wasn't bitter, he just was, hey, that's what happens, Cor. I said, Lloyd. Anyway, here's Angela Bassett, my lovely wife's quote. As a student in Dean Lloyd Richards' first class at Yale School of Drama, I felt so many things, chiefly pride, gratitude, contentment, and respect. He was iconic. He was also, for me, a bit of a father figure. I had such enormous pride watching him from afar. Proud, young, Angela would wave to this black man as he sat at his desk, working assiduously to stabilize our program in the present and cement its standing as a world-class program for the future. My classmates called him Lloyd. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't dare. For me, it was Dean, or Dean Richards, or simply, hi. All that black Southern biblical home training insisted I give honor to whom honor is due. Well, today is no different, except that my chest has found more space to swell with pride. Angela Bassett, Angela Bassett. And then I'm going to close with the great James Earl Jones' quote. He sent in a quote, and I quote, "Lloyd Richards was a man of great talent, intellect, courage, and integrity. He made an indelible contribution to the works of August Wilson, Ethel Barrymore, and many other important playwrights. His work at the Yale School of Drama and the Yale Rep helped launch the careers of people who are still making meaningful contributions to the theater. It was my honor to work with him and to know a consummate professional whose insights always made the work even better." James Earl Jones. And I'm going to say another thing that James said to me. I remember him saying, well, I read it in an article that he wrote. He said, "Lloyd Richards has more theatrical knowledge than any man or woman living." So that's who that man was, and that's what we're here celebrating, the theatrical knowledge to Pat, as one of the council members, what is your name? Eric. Mr. Eric said, we're here to celebrate that, and for countless generations from here on out, we celebrate all of that Lloyd Richards was and pass that information on. God bless you all.
Is Dr. Shannon here?
Amen. Come on.
Dr. Sandra G. Shannon is the founder. I didn't see you in the back of the crowd. Is the founder and president emerita of the August Wilson Society, and she's also the author of The Dramatic Vision of August Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Shannon.
Thank you, everyone. It's such an honor to be here today. Guess what? It's my birthday, too. Today is my birthday, and what better way to spend my birthday than with this wonderful crowd honoring August Wilson. Yes, for 17 years I served as president of the August Wilson Society, just about ready to pass the torch. In fact, I have passed the torch to my colleague, Michael Dinwiddie, Michael Whye back there. Yes, Lloyd and I had an interesting encounter at the Yale School of Drama when I was doing research on my work for August Wilson. In addition to being born on the same day, Lloyd and I have another thing in common, that we saw something in August Wilson and we decided to invest heavily in his work, The American Century Cycle. During my nearly 35 years of teaching, researching, publishing, and lecturing on August Wilson, I realized that my work on Wilson would often reveal the lingering and profound effect of Lloyd Richards. Everywhere I turned, there was Lloyd Richards. The two were inseparable. In 2001, Lloyd Richards graciously invited me to interview him at his Yale School of Drama office. That conversation was later published in the winter 1991 issue of Callaloo Journal entitled From Lorraine Hansberry to August Wilson, an interview with Lloyd Richards. I remember asking Lloyd during that interview what his work entailed as a director. Cleared his throat, he replied, "I think a good director must listen, must see, must hear, not just listen, must hear. And he must see the unusual, hear the unspoken, sense people, have a sense of form, have a sense of color. have a sense of what is drama. He must know where the drama lies in events. Not just a sense of event, but a sense of drama. Where do you put the camera? Where do you focus the eye? Where is the drama in the big screen? And I think we must have that. Of course, I'm sitting there going like, dropping all of those jewels of knowledge on me back in 2001. Lloyd famously said, "The theater was something that seemed to satisfy my life's need." I'm sure we can all relate to these words as we gather here today. Thank you so much, Julius.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Is there anybody here from Jerry Nadler's office? I didn't see the congressman here. All right, so hopefully he can get here before we pull the cord. I know he's been extremely busy, but Jerry Nadler he's going to be here to present the congressional record that he put into the Library of Congress entitled Honoring Lloyd Richards. All right, so thank you, Jerry Nadler, and hopefully he will be here shortly.
Good afternoon, my name is Sharon Cannon, and thank you. I have one thing. It's great. But I just want to say never before, and when I say that, I mean never before, as it was told by James Baldwin. Lorraine once said, "Lloyd see things in my work that I didn't even know were there." She was right. His direction had uncovered layers of meaning. Every scene, crafted, precise, with passion. Lloyd's insight, sensitivity, depth, and understanding. He saw the beauty in pain, the hope in despair. A testament to the power of Lorraine's word and the actors' heartfelt performances. Never again will theater be able to see the same. This was not just a play, it was a revolution, a spiritual awakeness, a singular moment in time that history will never be able to replicate. Ruben Santiago, actor, director, playwright, winner of Tony Award, 7 Guitars, directed by Lloyd, and also.
If there was ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, Lloyd Richards, the man, a human being so cool he could live like a king, 'cause he knew the real pleasures in life to be devoted to. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
And always stand by us. Yeah. So we'd be unafraid and free and free and free. Lloyd Richards. All around the continent of Africa, there's a tree called the baobab tree. This tree has been around so long, people can't even say how long since the earth's been here. And people go up under that tree for protection from the sun, protection from the wind. They go under this tree to stand and sit with the elders. This tree nurtures other trees, grows whole communities of trees. And those trees go on to grow more communities of trees. That majestic tree is symbolic in so many ways. The great Gordon Parks, he did a movie called The Learning Tree. It's in our tradition. Lloyd stepped into that place and stood as that tree. Yes. Nurtured communities of other trees. Made us prosper and grow and learn and lead. Lloyd carried himself with impeccable integrity He gave us tremendous responsibility, and he turned away and knew that there was nothing to worry about when he gave us that responsibility, because we weren't going to disappoint the king. He knew that we could handle that responsibility. Through Lloyd, who carried himself without pretension but with intention. That felt good. I don't know where it came from. Thank you, God. I don't want to hear any more about Lloyd dying, because he never dies. He will never die. He made a transition. He is here. We are here because Lloyd is here. And if you think it's different, then go somewhere and go to sleep. Lloyd Richards will never, ever not be with us. What he instilled in us is power, is the right to do the work. It's the need to do the work. And he said, every time you walk on that stage, the only thing that matters and why you're on that stage is everything you are in your life. A performance is only a performance when you perform it. Theater is life. Lloyd told us that we need to follow the assignment, we know our assignment. We got to lead, y'all. I want to thank the Schuberts for allowing us this time. Chet, Jack, Julius, for getting on my damn nerves. Because what you guys did is incredible. All the politicians that helped. But when I look around here, I see that baobab tree. I see those long, powerful roots, and I see those powerful branches that will forever shade us and guide us and keep us safe. We thank you, Lloyd.
Oh my God, I'm in tears. Oh, you see the sun? The sun is out. Yes, Rosalind Coleman Williams, actor, director, teacher, featured in piano lessons, 7 guitar, directed by Lloyd Richards.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to tell you my little Lloyd Richards story, which isn't little because it's big in my life. Lloyd was magical. And on campus at Yale, we often referred to him, I don't know if he liked it or not, but as the little Buddha. Because he had an aura of calmness and magic that he brought with him everywhere that he went. And there was one afternoon when I came up to my mailbox, and whenever you were encountered with anything from Lloyd, it felt like magic. There was a note, and it was from Lloyd, and it said, "I have some money for you." So, as you can imagine, I didn't sleep that whole weekend. So, I've become an actor, a director, and an educator. And that is because I have watched Lloyd from the beginning. He first cast me as an understudy in piano lesson at Yale when I first got there. I was so nervous that every time I sat down at the rehearsal table, you could hear my stomach grumbling. But I was smart enough to listen, and I saw the process of how plays were developed. And that stuck with me. And what Lloyd taught me was that the story was the most important thing, and that it longed to be told. And none of us knew really what the story was, but we all had to work together and go through the process every day. And he had infinite patience and trusted us. And we did that all through piano lesson and all through 7 guitars. And finally, I want to remind you guys of a story Lloyd used to tell from the first day on the first day of rehearsals. I hope I tell it right. But he would tell a story about a woman that he met at the box office when he was doing Raisin in the Sun. And it was a woman who was carrying a shopping bag, and she was buying a ticket, a black woman. And when you were carrying a shopping bag back in the 50s, that meant that you were a domestic. because you had your uniform in the shopping bag. You would carry your change of clothes. And Lloyd asked this woman, why are you here? Why are you buying this ticket? And the woman said, because I heard that something is going on in here that's important, and something about me is happening in here. And so I think when we look up at that sign that says Lloyd Richards Way, we have to remember that. That is why we toil in the theater. That's why we do what we do. We do it for that woman. And every time we work, I want us to remember Lloyd and to remember that woman and to remember our sacred duty to not only do the work, but to teach the work and to pass it on and to pour into each other. So congratulations, Lloyd. You deserve this. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Do the work and pass it on. Jay Osonder, actor, playwright, friend, and a constant acting presence at the Lloyd O'Neill Theater.
Thank you. Crank this up a little. Ruben, that's a hard act to follow, as is Roz and Courtney. Lloyd Richards was a calm but dynamic voice at the heart of the American theater for at least 5 decades. During my numerous summers working with him as an actor at the O'Neill Playwrights Festival during the 80s and 90s, I watched and participated as Lloyd shepherded countless new playwrights forward into the world. He regularly spoke of his mission being not simply to look for new plays, but rather to listen for new voices, to find a fresh voice within the writing that might lead to a whole new world of stories yet to be uncovered and told through many plays ahead. My task, and our task together, he reminded us, is to encourage these voices forward. The community of playwrights, actors, directors, designers, dramaturgs, and critics that flourished at the O'Neill Festival back then also enjoyed a free flow back and forth with the students, as you were hearing, and faculty at Yale School of Drama, where Lloyd was dean and artistic director of Yale Repertory Theater. But our O'Neill family was much broader than that, drawing on a wide array of artists from all across the country. To this day, wherever I go, Michael Rogers, I run into colleagues I spent summer sessions with there, and there's an instant warm recognition of our time together. In college dorm rooms, working on unit sets of wooden blocks with the barest hint of props, playing in barns and outdoor amphitheaters with highlighted scripts in hand, feathered with countless new pages, still warm from the copy machine. All listening for that fresh voice in the writing to amplify through our work, talking, discussing, debating on the sea porch or the lawn or in the barn, late into the night, struggling together, filled with passion, shorts and t-shirts, in the summer heat tempered with the cooling breezes off the Long Island Sound. Generations of artists, all listening hard for that voice. Among us at the time were Robert Schenken, Catherine Pillou, Richard Wesley, August Wilson, John Patrick Shanley, Laura Maria Sensabella, Chris Durang, David Henry Wong, Willie Holtzman, somebody's going to be left off, a million going to be left off, Beth Henley, David Lindsay Abair, Lee Blessing, James Yashimura, Annie Evans, Jeffrey Hatcher, Adam Rapp, Marcia Cebulska, and many, 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 many more. International voices were also brought to join our conversation from Russia, China, and Scandinavia, with generations of theater makers of all disciplines. George White, bless him, Mary Alice, John Sykes, my brother Wendell Pierce, Edith Oliver, Kevin Gears, Sloan Shelton, Courtney Vance, Lori Tan Chen, Jean Passanante, Helen Stenborg, Tom Bertel, Tina Ball, Bill Partland, Jeffrey DeMunn, Phyllis Somerville, Ebony Joanne, Michael Feingold, Julie Boyd, here today. Tommy Hollis, Max Wilk, Karen Carpenter, David Marshall, Grant Rock Dutton. It goes on, it goes on, it goes on. Oz Scott. And here today, Lloyd, we celebrate your voice, heard round the world echoing in our heads, reminding us to listen closely to each other and listen closely. Learn the lessons waiting to be unlocked through the wisdom and the truth that lives in each of us. We hear you, Lloyd, and we celebrate you here on Lloyd Richards Way.
Hi, I'm Jack Shalom from WBAI, and thanks. And the day I walked into Lloyd Richards' classroom at Hunter College 50 years ago changed my life forever. Now, people will tell you what a wonderful acting teacher Lloyd was. But speaking as someone who became an educator for 30 years, I can say that Lloyd was the finest teacher of any subject that I had ever had. Not just the best acting teacher, the best teacher, period. He was a master pedagogue. He talked directly to you exactly where you were at and said just the right thing so that you could go further. And Lloyd made you feel that you were doing something larger than yourself and that you could contribute to that great ongoing work. He wanted you to become your own unique artist, not a clone of him. Now, Lloyd once described his job exactly as watching from the ground as he prepared birds to fly. And I am so happy to introduce a bird that Lloyd Richards prepared to fly 65 years ago in this very spot at the premiere of Lloyd's production of The Raisin in the Sun, a play where every single member of that cast went on to even greater fame, even the moving men. All but one have passed on now, but there is still one living member of that cast, a bird who spread his wings and flew. Ladies and gentlemen, Primetime Emmy Award winner, Glenn Turman.
Thank you, everyone. This hat's part of my act. Because what I wanted to be was a baseball player. I wanted to be Jackie Robinson. That was my hero, number 42. Until Mama said, you know, Miss Hansberry, my friend? I said, yes, ma'am. She said she's written a play. She thinks there's a part in it you might be good for. I said, well, what are you talking about? She said, it's a play you're going to do. They might take it to Broadway, and they want you to audition for the little boy in it. I said, well, I don't know. When is it? If it's going to be Saturday, I can't do it because I got a baseball game on Saturday. She said, it might be a lot of you Saturdays. Now, I didn't know what an audition was, so when I got to this place where we were auditioning, there was a lot of other little black boys sitting in the hall, and I was wondering what they were doing there, because there was only one little boy in the play, that was me, so what are they doing there? Come to find out that they were trying out for the same part. And we were auditioning for a man that would change my trajectory of life forever. Mr. Lloyd Richards. He picked me out of that bunch of little black boys sitting in the hallway to do a role in his production of Raisin in the Sun, right here, finally at this theater. Getting to this theater wasn't no easy trip. We had to circle, like you know planes that come in for landing and then they say, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to circle, our runway is not ready yet, the hangar's not ready. Raisin did that. We were out on the road and we circled and we circled and we circled. We had to go back and we went to Philly and we went to Chicago, all under the helm of Mr. Lloyd Richards, who made it so much fun to be an actor. That's what attracted me to him. This was my first thing. This was Broadway. This was Sidney Poitier. I seen him in the movies. And he made it so much fun. The things he had me do. Now when he come up, when you go down to get that money, run. I want you to run. I want you to jump over the chair and run down the stairs and get that. And then run back in and hand it to mama. Okay, Lloyd, okay. So everything was fun. He made it a work ethic. Glenn, now you can't be late for your cue. This is a play. Just because you're not on stage doesn't mean that you're not in the play. You're still in the play. These people are depending on you. It is your responsibility to be there in time for the play to continue. This is what he taught me at 12. So I had to make that happen. Okay, Lloyd, okay. He used to make fun of me because I put on my coat. Strange for some reason. I don't know if I still do it. But we were miming and I had to put my coat on. And I was miming putting my coat on some strange kind of way. And as I was putting it on, he was just sitting there and he'd home. And finally we got the prop, we got the costume, and I put on the real coat the same strange way. And he said to me, I was wondering if that's the way you really put your coat on. But he never stopped me from doing that. He encouraged me with my awkwardness, saying that it was all right to be different, to do something different, to do it a different way. He encouraged that in me. So I continue to be awkward, and here I am, awkwardly in front of you, telling you this story of how this man changed my life. Let me take one more second. Mr. Woody King is here. Mr. Woody King and Mr. Ron Miller came to New York with a play that they brought. Now I had been auditioning now years later after Raisin, okay? And I'm maybe 19 years old and I'm a truck driver. And I'm driving truck right here in the city, all through these streets. A furniture truck driver, furniture mover. And I had a load of furniture. And 3 guys, a crew of 3, and I'm reading backstage at the stop. Every time we stop at the light, I'm reading backstage. And it said, young black boy needed for play being directed, produced at the St. Clement's Church by the American Place Theater. Directed by Lloyd Richards. I said, oh my God, now I hadn't gotten a part and I don't know how long. And so I turned the whole truck around with the furniture and everybody and headed right over here to St. Clement's Church. And what is on 43rd, 44th, 43rd? Anyway, the truck was too big. I pulled up on the side. I was blocking all the traffic. I took the keys. I ran inside. Roger Robinson was sitting there. They were ready to go next to the audition for Lloyd. I said, Roger, I got to go ahead of you. I got to go ahead of you, man, because you could hear the guys out on the street. German, you mother, get up here. And so I said to the lady, please tell Mr. Richards that Glenn Turman is out and I got to audition for him right away. I got to tell him. So sure enough, Lloyd comes out and he's looking up at me now. And he says, Travis? And I said, hey Lloyd, how are you? He says, I said, I got an audition for you right away. He said, well, take the script. And I said, no, I can't study it. I got to come in, I got to co-read for you. And I went in and he said, how are you doing? And blah, blah, blah. And he gave me a whole thing. And he said, okay, read. And I read the best I could. And I said, thank you, Lloyd, thank you. And I ran out. And next thing I knew, I had gotten the part. And that was for a play that Mr. Woody King Jr. was producing called Who's Got His Own. And we've been partners ever since. But Lloyd Richards was the one that kept me in the trajectory of my dream, in the chasing the dream. Yes. That work ethic that it took to manufacture that dream. Next thing I know, I'm in California. And here I am on TV. And it's in the 80s. Things are going well, finally. I'm able to pay my rent and everything. And Lloyd comes through. And Lloyd says he's auditioning for a play that he's going to do. And come and audition for me, and I did. And I didn't get it. And Lloyd said to me, don't become a lazy Hollywood actor. And that struck a nerve. And boy, did I dig in deep. I did plays. I went back to inner city. I did plays at the Mark Taper. I did plays everywhere I could find a play. I went on the road, a national tour with Vincent Gardenia and I'm not Rappaport. I zigzagged the whole country. I have played every state in this union. So, because I was not going to become a lazy actor, because that dug deep. That hurt. The play was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom that he was casting when he came. Years not too long ago, 5 years ago, I did a production of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom at the Marquee Forum, directed by Felicia Rashad. Won the Ovation Award for that production. Won the Ovation Award for 2 trains running. Did the motion picture of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Did pretty doggone good there too. And all of that is a result of this man putting me in on a direct job that's gotten me a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame just last week. I thank you, Lloyd. God bless you, Lloyd. And I'm going to keep on keeping on and try and remember my lines.
Okay, so before we get to our concluding speakers, we'd like to give our heartfelt thanks to the staff at the Schubert Organization, Kathleen Conforti, Erin De Palma, Andrew White, and thanks to the Times Square Alliance and Damian Santucci, and thanks to the Department of Transportation and Callie Lawson, and Marielle De La Cruz and Jordan Finer at Mark Levine's office, Carl Wilson at Eric Botcher's office. A profound thanks for your key help in making this happen. Couldn't happen without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, in an interview that Lloyd gave to the Drama Review late in his life, he was asked, how did he want to be remembered? And he said he wanted to be remembered as a husband, as a father, and a grandfather. That's how he wanted to be remembered. And I'm so happy to introduce to you Lloyd's 2 sons, both master theater artists in their own unique ways. Let me introduce you first, flying in from overseas, the former artistic director of the Work Center of Jerzy Grotowski and Thomas Richards, and now the founder of Theater No Theater, Thomas Richards.
Hello. This is a very, very moving moment, and it's difficult to find exactly what to say. I see that my father has touched so many of you and so many lives. And a woman asked me here, when you were a young child, were you aware of the impact your father was having? And I kind of mumbled a little bit and I said, no, not really. And since that exchange, I've been thinking in my mind, what might be at the core, something simple, something essential that made all of this possible and made it possible also that we're here today honoring him. And a memory came to mind because I was a director, I was directing in Europe and I was in Vienna and he was close to his death. It was 2005. He died in 2006. He was already very weak and he got on a plane. He flew to Europe to see my production. And we were walking the streets in Vienna together. And he took me to the theater where he did Amen Corner in Vienna when it was on tour in Europe. And we had that moment together that comes up in me as a memory. And I was thinking, wow, that's somehow what he did. He was so, with the quality of his attention, of seeing someone, a playwright, an actor, and seeing them with hope, and seeing the moment with hope, that daily simplicity became the material for memory and something valuable that we can all keep with us, which is the very essence, I believe, of theater and his theater. And so I just thank you to him. Thank you. That's a little, just to say thank you to him for that. And also to you, to be here to honor him today. And then that word also had another meaning, because I think when he came to Vienna, it was a way of honoring me. And here we are today. Right? So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And finally, award-winning composer, librettist, and actor in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Scott Davenport Richards.
Before I say anything, I want to give special thanks to both Jack and Julius. They have been tireless in making this happen, and my gratitude is extremely deep for what they've done. I often find myself saying, like, people I don't know, like, will ask, I say, oh yeah, my father was a director, and like, but somehow I can't. It's so difficult to explain the intersections of what he actually did. So much of what he did wasn't just about direction, about the stage. It was about creating the infrastructure for artists to create and to continue creating and to continue the work that we have now. A lot of that is due to the structures he set in place that we have now. Along the way, he broke a lot of barriers, and so I think it's extremely fitting that we are naming a street after him right now, because he broke paths for us all. And I'd like to thank you all for coming, and let's celebrate Lloyd with Lloyd Richards Way.
And now we're going to walk together in a procession to the plaza right down the street on Broadway. If you'd like, Chet has an extra sign here if anybody would like one. And Scott and Thomas, if you would lead the way, that would be great. Here.
So everyone, please hold up your poster if you have it, that people can know who we are and why we're here. We're going to follow the family to the east, to the corner of 47th and Broadway, and then we will unveil the Lloyd Richards Way sign. Please proceed to the east, following the family, so we can assemble and unveil the Lloyd Richards sign.
What are you doing? Don't tell me you get about the last one now. Is that the last one? Wow, really no more? All right.
You have another one?